Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Toya Talks Raw. And of course, I told you yesterday my hour-long video, which I didn't even realize that video was gonna be like an hour. I mean, granted, there was like I was putting like 3 shows in one, so I want to get all like the details and everything else. When I went back there and I did all the editing and everything else like that, I'm like, hour? And I'm like, oh, whew, that was long. But yeah, I told you yesterday, if you guys watched, that today I'm going to talk about Raw, and then next week I'll talk about both SmackDown and Raw. But today we're just going to talk about Raw. This Raw was actually pretty good. I enjoyed like maybe like 85% of the show. I really like it when I want to see what happens next week. You know, because I'm curious. I mean, sometimes I'm curious to see what happens next week just because it was an absolutely fail, and I'm just like, how are they gonna fix that? Sometimes I'm curious that way, but in this situation, I'm just curious to see what happens next, to see what's going on. We had some great matches, some great promos, and everything else. Anyways, let me tell you what I saw yesterday on Raw. Let's start off with, of course, the lovely ladies of WWE. We had Stephanie Vancouver come out, and you know, she pretty much came out and pretty much said she wants her title back. She called out Liv Morgan, and then Liv Morgan along with Raquel and Roxanne, they come out and everything else, and Liv Morgan was basically saying how she doesn't care about anybody else but herself, that she's a champion for herself, and that she doesn't care about the other women who held the title before her or who even held the title after her or anything else like that, because she's gonna be the longest world women's champion of all time. Yada 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 yada. And that's when Stephanie Vancouver is like, I mean, you're not scared? Then why are you way over there? Because Liv Morgan was on stage and Stephanie was in the ring. And she's like, why are you way over there? Why don't you come over here and say that to my face? Right? And then Liv Morgan's like, okay. So then her and obviously the 2 R's go with her and everything else, and basically Liv Morgan was like, you just made a huge mistake. And then they started, well, you know, Stephanie Vancouver goes after Liv and everything. Yeah, but by that time, you know, you got Raquel and Roxanne, they're already on her and everything else. And I honestly thought that Becky was gonna come out earlier. She comes out. I thought she was gonna come out earlier because Liv Morgan didn't mention her name, so I figured maybe she was gonna come out, but she did come out. And then she ended up coming out and pretty much Stephanie Vancouver was getting her ass whooped by the 3 ladies. And, you know, they got her. Becky Lynch got Liv and everybody else at first, but then Liv Morgan pretty much, and then that's when Becky and Stephanie Vancouver got into each other's faces and stuff like that. And that's when Liv Morgan pulls out Becky Lynch out the ring and everything else. And again, Becky Lynch got Liv Morgan, but then Raquel comes in, beats her ass, and then pop rocks to like Stephanie Vancouver and everything else, and they were just fighting all this other stuff. Pretty much, it was a 3-on-2, and Judgment Day women pretty much dominated there and everything like that. So then later on in the show, you had Stephanie Vancouver have an interview, either Jackie or Kathy, can't remember, but they look the same to me. But they had an interview, and basically she told her, hey, you know, just found out that you have a match next week with Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez was the one that took out Stephanie Vancouver while she was gone for 3 months or whatever, and how many months is, I don't fucking know. She's the reason why that Stephanie Vancouver wasn't around. And she's like talking and everything else and everything, and then Becky Lynch comes in and she's like clapping her hands. She's like, oh, you know, good luck and everything else like that. Think that you don't need my help. Come on now, give me a break. Can't even fight them all alone. You're gonna fight them by yourself. Like, give me a break. And Stephanie McCurry goes, look, Roxanne Perez is my problem. Don't you be my next problem. And then Becky Lynch is like, if you're going after the championship, I'm your biggest problem. Oh shit. He's like, she's like, Becky Lynch is like, oh, and good luck with the Judgment Day girls tomorrow. I'm pretty sure they're gonna abide by the rules and everything else like that. All bullshit and everything. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. I don't know if Becky Lynch is going to help out if Stephanie needs the help or whatever. Next week we'll find out. But yeah, it was very cool, very interesting. I loved it. It was great. So then we had a match for the #1 contenders for the women's IC title. It was Sol Ruka versus Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria did have a video promo out where she basically said that she can do everything that Sol Ruka does. She just doesn't do it because she doesn't want to be a show off or whatever. Yada yada yada. And I'm like, sure. Whatever you say. I mean, maybe she can. I don't know. I'm not saying that she couldn't. But I'm just saying, like, this Lyra, I don't know. But that was a really good match. They had a really good showing and everything else. Like, Sol Ruka ends up winning, which obviously is so snatcher. But I don't know what's gonna happen with Lyra, because I don't know what the hell they're doing with this character. You changed her, you made her like a bad guy or a bad girl, I guess, and now you're not doing anything. The only person that she beat was Bailey, and where the fuck is Bailey at? Don't know. But yeah, I don't know. You need to do something with her. But it was a great match, and I really did enjoy the match a lot. But we had the last two matches for the tournament in Mexico City for against Roman Reigns. We had Rey Fenix. Sorry, Rey Fenix versus I don't fucking know. I can't remember the names. I don't watch Triple A like that. But this was a good match. I really enjoyed it. Rey Fenix winning. And then the next match was the Dragon Lee versus Dr. something Jr. Can't remember the last part. But anyways, that was a better match. It was a very long match. It was not long, but it was a great match. I didn't want it to end. I thought it was impactful as fuck. And Dragon Lee ends up winning that match. So I think next week we have semifinals where it's gonna be Penta versus Arca, and then it's going to be Rey Fenix versus Dragon Lee. So I think the Rey Fenix and Dragon Lee one should be very good. I don't know who wins. Because they're both just fucking amazing wrestlers and luchadors and everything else. I have no idea luchas, so I don't know who wins on that one, but we will see. I want to have Penta fight her against his brother and everything else like that, but I mean, Penta versus Dragon Lee would work as well too. So who knows? We will see. So we had a match between JD McDonough and a very pissed off Yvonne Evans. So this is what happens, right? If you happen to be outside of America, or if you had a VPN, you were able to see that, Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough were bitching and complaining about Dominic's, I guess his schedule or whatever, blah blah blah, whatever they were fucking bitching about and everything else. And that's when Von Evans comes out and he calls out Big Cass, because Big Cass has already beaten his ass twice in a matter of 2 weeks. So they get mad and everything else like that. They get in each other's faces because they interrupted Right. I mean, Javon Evans did interrupt Dominic and JD, so I could understand why they're fucking pissed off and everything. And it ended up being a fight, and then they said, well, let's have a match. So then JD and Javon Evans had a match. Now, if you're in America, like myself, I mean, I have a VPN, but this is the time I did not use the VPN. But if you're in America, when you came back, all you saw was Javon Evans and JD McDonough fighting, and you're like, well, what's going on here? Like, why are we here? We got no introductions or no nothing or anything else like that. We just got some fight. But that's pretty much it. So, I mean, this match was great. The only problem was it was really short. It was short, but it was fucking amazing and everything else. Javon Evans was not playing. He was like on his, like, he apparently when he came out of the ring, or came out of the thing to go to the ring, he was pissed. I mean, I would be pissed off too if somebody kept constantly fucking with me. Yeah, I would be pissed off too. So he was pissed, so he just showed that anger onto the fucking screen, onto the fucking match. He didn't smile and nothing or anything else like that. He was on a fucking mission. And he gave this amazing OG cutter for the win. He got the win and everything else like that. Now he's celebrating, of course, and then here comes Big Cass, the one he was fucking calling out for. Big Cass comes in, pretty much beats him down and everything else like that. So now he's on the ground, on the mat or whatever, in the ring, and he's like, whatever, and then Big Cass about to leave, and then Javon Evans grabs the microphone and is like, is that it? Is that all you got? And Big Cass is like, well, you want more? Okay, cool, I'm gonna come back. So then Big Cass comes back, and that's when Javon Evans pretty much jumps him and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, go Javon, kick his ass, beat him up, blah, 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 blah. And by this time, it looked like, you know, Javon Evans could probably get him and everything else like that. But then that's when Dominic Mysterio comes in, pretty much ruins everything. And then Dominic and JD pretty much leaving Cass there with Javon Evans, and pretty much beat the living shit out of Javon Evans. Now, that Big Cass has not had a match yet. So I could imagine that his first match is with Javon Evans. If not, could be with just some random whatever they have there. But waiting in the catering or whatever. But if it's Javon Evans, I think it's gonna be Javon Evans. I want Big Cass to win because I feel like he should win, but also I just also want Javon Evans to look as strong as possible. Yeah, you know what? He didn't win, but you know, he never gave up or anything else like that, and he still looks strong and everything. Eventually, you know, Javon Evans should get his payback from Big Cass eventually. Right now, I feel like Big Cass in his first match should definitely beat Javon Evans for sure, but it was a good match for what we saw of it and everything like that. That segment to the next thing, and I was like, I'm interested to see what happened. We had another great match between Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable IC title. I honestly thought that this was gonna be later on in the month, or even in Mexico City, but nope, they did it today, or not today, but they did it yesterday. And it was a great match. It was a lot of close calls and everything else like that. This was one of those matches that kept me on my seat, which I like those matches, but then again, I don't like those matches because sometimes those matches are like my heart is like, okay, like, what are we doing? Like, we're doing this. Like, no, please don't. No, I don't like this. Oh my god, no. You know, like, and everything else. But it was a great match, and they pretty much afterwards, Chad Gable ends up retaining his title. So I'm like, oh, thank God, because there are some times in this match where I'm just like, are they gonna give it away? I'm like, are they? I'm like, oh. But yeah, I don't know what Chad Gable does next. I don't know who his next opponent is. I don't know that. I mean, Chad gave a pick to Rey Mysterio. I don't know if someone's gonna come up to like, hey, I want a title shot, blah blah blah, whatever. But we'll see. But it was a great match. We had the Vision. They were talking. I have no idea what they were talking about. Who cares? Let's go to Braun Breaker. So then they asked Braun Breaker, is there anything you want to tell Obafemi right now and everything else? And Braun Breaker was like, actually, there is something I want to tell Obafemi, and I'll tell it to his face. So that's when, because they were backstage, so they went through, so then Braun Breaker goes and the camera follows him through like the backstage and through Gorilla and everything else like that, and they played his music and here he comes and everything else like that. And then Braun Breaker's like, you know, Obafemi, you think you're the future of this company or not, blah 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 blah, why don't you out here and everything else, and we have to talk and all this other stuff. But instead of Braun Breaker coming out, we had Paul Heyman coming out instead. And Paul Heyman is like, you know, I'm a lot of things. You know, I used to be the advocate for the beast. I am the oracle. I am the wise man. I'm the wise man for many things. I am a wise man for things that are wise. I'm a wise man for things that are not wise. And this is something that's probably not too wise and everything else like that. I mean, you're asking these questions about if Obafemi is future and all this other stuff, blah 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 blah. And then Braun Breaker's like, well, do you think he's the future? And as soon as they go over to Paul Heyman, that's when you hear Obafemi's music come off. And Obafemi is coming out, and of course, you know, people are shouting Oba and everything else. He comes out. He grabs the microphone and he's basically like telling Braun Breaker, you know, you're an idiot, right? You know, I know, they know, everybody knows who's the future of WWE. Even Brock Lesnar knows it's me and everything else like that. He goes, basically, if you have a problem with it, I'm right here. We can settle it right now. And then Braun Breaker's like, okay, well, let's go. Like, what's up with this? Come on, like, whatever, right? So there are two of us like just go at it and everything else, and then he's like, Paul Heyman's like, if you take one step closer to Obafemi talking to you, Braun Breaker, you're taking like a definite step away from me. Goes, he's like, what? Like, listen, he's like, a real person, the real future would know that, you know, this company is like shareholders, and we don't just do these kind of matches for like free and everything else like that, and you go on the biggest stage and everything, blah 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 blah. And that's why I talked to Adam Pearce, and I got a match between you and him at Sunday night's main event, which is in Georgia, in Atlanta, which is where Braun Breaker is from. So Braun Breaker likes that. He's like, oh cool, I got the advantage of the home field advantage. I ain't got a problem with that. And then fucking Obafemi don't fucking care. And all this other stuff. So then they leave. Well, Braun Breaker leaves, right? And everything else. He steps out the ring and everything. And that's when Paul Heyman, you know, he shakes Obafemi's hand, and Braun Breaker sees this and he don't like it. He's like, what's going on here? I mean, he didn't do anything. He didn't run up there and everything else like that. But it's a mystery what's going on there and stuff like that. But it's official now. We have an actual match, so we don't have to wait too long, because Sunday night's main event is next month. I think it's in like a couple of weeks from now. So we don't have to wait too long for that. I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm interested. Very interested. And like, yeah, fuck the Vision. Like, let's just get rid of the Vision. Yeah, seriously. Or at least take Braun Breaker out of it. He don't need to be. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about some bloodline stuff because we can never get enough of the bloodline. This actually this bloodline stuff was actually cool. Anyways, during the show, in the beginning of the show, you had basically the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, come out of like this van or car or something. I don't know. They came out of something. And they're like really excited because Jay won last week, so now Jay is bringing Solo Sikoa over to Roman Reigns, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just excited and everything, blah 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 blah." And then you had, he's like, "Let me tell you something. I love Jimmy, I love Jay. These two are way, 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 way too excited for this." I'm just like, y'all need to like relax and like calm down. They were like, yeah, we brought him home, guys. We're gonna bring him home. And Solo Sikoa just looked like he just lost his puppy, and I'm just like, nah, that's just terrible, right? And all this other shit, and I'm just like, so then they run into, I don't know if they ran into Jacob first or they ran into LA Knight first, but whatever. We'll talk about LA Knight. So they ran into LA Knight and everything else like that. LA Knight didn't say anything. LA Knight just looked at, and then Jimmy and Jay just looked at LA Knight, and Solo and LA Knight looked at each other and all this other stuff, and they really didn't say much of anything at all. I don't think they said anything at all. It was just all looks and everything else like that. And then they ran into Jacob, basically. They're like, "Oh, it's a great day. Why do you look so sad, Jacob?" And else, Solo's coming back to the bloodline, blah 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 blah. I did something that you couldn't do, and who's the punk ass now, and all this other stuff. Because Jacob was like, "Well, you didn't even do it by yourself. You had Jimmy with you and everything." And Jimmy's like, "It don't matter. The point is, Solo is coming home." So then they had that. Did they have a thing with LA Knight? I can't remember. I think they did, but I don't remember. But anyways, Roman Reigns towards the end of the show, because he has great timing. He comes in and he's with Jacob Fatu, and they go into the ring together. And people are farming OTC, Roman Reigns, yada 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 yada, and everything else. And I'm like, don't you say it, Roman. And he fucking says it. It's acknowledged me. And I'm like, motherfucker, did you not? Because it's already acknowledged. But whatever, they acknowledged him and everything else. And he said, let's get down to business. Me, Solo Sikoa. And so the Usos come out and they bring in Solo Sikoa set and everything else like that. And Reigns was basically like, oh, he said 3 years ago, and I'm like, 3 years ago, he said like 3 years ago I beat you at the Netflix premiere. I'm like, nigga, that was like last year. Excuse me for the words, but it's like, what? Words? I mean, it might have felt like 3 years, but no, it was last year. So he's like, I beat you. You're supposed to, come to me and everything else like that. And instead you want to do your own thing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, have respect for your tribal chief, stuff like that. And they showed this video package of basically one part of Solo Sikoa saying, I acknowledge you, blah, blah, blah. And then the next part is this, him talking about face. Well, not talking about it, but him being face and doing all this other stuff that he's been doing in recent times and everything. And they started talking, and again they come back and he's like, why are you looking at me like this? Everything. I said Roman saying to Solo, like, why are you looking at me? More importantly, why are you like, you should be on your knees begging forgiveness and all other stuff like that. And that's when Jacob, like, you pretty beats him up a little bit, hits him, blah blah blah. And then they said, and then Roman's like, enough already. and all this stuff. Guy goes, you see these two over here? They're like my fucking right hand man or some shit like that. And he gives them the Usos, Ufalas, the black ones. He did not give one to Jacob Fatu, which Jacob Fatu looked pretty upset about that. And he was like, no, and everything else, but he didn't say anything. Listen, Chief. And he gives them the Ufalas, and he starts talking again and all this other stuff, and he's gonna make a decision, blah blah blah. And that's when LA Knight shows. LA Knight comes out, and LA Knight didn't say anything. He starts attacking the Usos and everything like that. So that I believe Jacob Fatu starts attacking LA Knight and everything else like that. And so did Jimmy or whatever. And then this is where like they have LA Knight, right? They have him. Like I think the Usos have them or whatever and stuff. And you know, Roman Reigns is like, is this who you going with? Is this who you want to back up and everything else like that? We're your family. You serve us and everything else. And I have said this plenty of times. And I don't fucking I like Roman. I think Roman Reigns is cool. I've never thought that Roman Reigns was not babyface. I always thought, even till today, he was a heel. He acts like a fucking heel. Everything else, I don't care if you guys like him. He's a fucking heel. I don't give a shit if he changes music. He's a fucking heel. He acts like a heel. He talks like a fucking heel. He's a fucking heel. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if there's no Paul Heyman. He's a fucking heel. I don't give a shit. So there was definitely some heel qualities going on, like a strong heel qualities of like, right? And he was basically telling like Solos, like, you need to make a choice, right? You need to do the right thing. You need to serve us. You need to serve me and everything else. You need to abide by the rules, blah 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 blah, of the bloodline rules and everything. It was like, make a decision, make a choice, make a choice, make a choice. And that's when Solo Sikoa is like telling LA Knight, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and everything else like that. He goes, yeah, you're sorry, do it. And so he gets ready to give him the Samoan Spike, but instead of giving it to LA Knight, he gives it to Roman Reigns. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, here's the thing. I always assumed that Solo was going to do that, you know, that and everything else like that. But I thought it was gonna be like later on, like maybe like we go for like a couple of weeks or whatever, and then he does it. But and then, you know, it's like maybe do it like at Money in the Bank or some shit like that, and maybe screw over him so they can have LA Knight win. I know that's wishful thinking, but you know, or something, or disqualification or some shit. I don't fucking know. Anyway, that's what I thought. But the fact that they're doing it now, I ain't got a problem with that either. I was like, oh shit, and everything else. And that's when you know, Jimmy and Jay are like, what the hell are you doing, and everything else like that. And that's when they get one of the twins gets BFT'd by LA Knight, and then Solo pretty much grabs the other one outside the ring and all this other stuff. And that's when Jacob Fatu starts fighting LA Knight and everything else like that. And then Roman Reigns gives up, and Roman Reigns Superman punches LA Knight, and then Jacob Fatu's about to go back for more, and Roman Reigns is like, no, don't touch him. He's mine. You do nothing. You just stay there. So, you know, he has to listen to the Tribal Chief. The Tribal Chief said, don't do anything. So he didn't do anything. By this time, LA Knight is up. He BFTs Roman Reigns. And then he looks at Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu can't do nothing because the Tribal Chief, who he listens to, told him not to do anything. So he didn't touch fucking anybody and everything else like that. By that time, LA Knight is leaving the ring. You have Solo Sikoa already on the ramp and everything else like that. So they fist pounded each other. So it looks like they got allies with each other for right now. And I'm like, cool. What's going on with Jacob Fatu though? I'm like, what is he gonna do? Because it's like, yeah, I lost to fucking Roman. Because I'm a man of my word. I get that he's a man of his word, but it's like, is he going to do something about this or anything else like that? Like, what? He didn't get a Ulafala. I should have. He just, I hate to say this, kind of looks like a bitch. Which, I mean, I love fucking Jacob Fatu. I think he's amazing, but I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens with Solo. I don't know if we're gonna get a match between LA Knight versus Roman Reigns for the title or not. I'm not 100% sure, but something has to happen, right? Something needs to give. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Don't know. But I actually enjoyed this bloodline thing and everything else like that. I'm so glad that, Solo was able to get out of it and be able to just be himself again. So that's great. So I don't know what's going on, but we will see next week, I guess, or following week, or whenever fucking Roman Reigns decides to show up and everything else like that. But anyways, that was Raw last night. It was a very good show. Looking forward to see what's going on in SmackDown and this match with Punk versus Kevin Owens and everything else like that. It should be interesting. It should be fun. Anyways, I just want to thank you guys so much. I don't think I have anything else coming out wrestling wise. I might have another video. I'll just be bitching and complaining about some stuff. Maybe. Guess I will see you guys in my next video. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.